I'm sure you've already heard about the what I would call just injustice within this whole setup is that the Crunchyroll Anime Awards 2019 set is lacking in personally what I would say a very biased nature. So Black Clover, it has some controversies. Well, I would say not real controversies, more of fan made well, not even fan made, more of just like people who haven't actually really taken the time to step into the series and check it out in order to, get an opinion of them. But the series itself, it doesn't have the best reputation because of that. Regardless of which, we can look at facts and statistics on top of like actual things displayed within the year 2019 that is confusing, and that is within Crunchyroll's all their every single category for this year, well rather last year, of the anime awards, there's not one spot for Black Clover. Now I will say this, it's not like I can pull up some document that says they intentionally didn't include them in there. But at the same time, they have their own numbers presented publicly. You can look them up that show that Black Clover is very popular right now. It's what got most watched in the last decade in a lot of parts of Europe as well as Africa. And the series, is, I think, amongst the top 5 for the last since it started for Tokyo TV's profitable anime series. And when it comes to some of the categories, I can be kind of like, all right, like Best Boy. I know not everyone likes Asta, which is understandable. Best Girl, legitimately, I think is absolutely like ridiculous that Noelle wasn't in there. Like, you have someone like Nezuko, who I get that Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba got really popular in the last year. But here's the thing. She doesn't really talk often. She doesn't really have a lot of lines that really would put her up in that spot. She's likable. I would absolutely not call her Best Girl. Noelle not being in there, I think, is ridiculous. Mainly because we're talking specifically about the animes, and in the animes last year, when she, as we saw not too long ago, she overcame years of physical, emotional, and mental abuse from her family to save them, to keep them alive, and at the same time was able to push herself to become, unlock her Valkyrie dress, a really cool form, have her own really cool fight, and just display her own level of capabilities that didn't rely on the main character or anyone else. It was all on her own. Which is like, when you look at like what would fit into Best Girl, shouldn't that, really sit into it? Someone who showed their strength and independence while at the same time showing them not to be selfish and to put, personal differences aside to save lives. I don't know. Honestly, I'm surprised Ochako isn't on there after, she doesn't really do anything in My Hero, but she somehow always makes it on there. Surprised that she wasn't on there this year, regardless of which. And then when you get into some of the other ones, best opening and ending, legit, I don't understand how at least one Black Clover opening didn't end on there. Black Clover has fantastic openings. Best fantasy, again, I don't understand how it didn't end up in fantasy. Like, if you look at a lot of the stuff on there, it's the most fantasy series out of them. And again, if you go off statistics, it's the most watched out of a lot of these. I don't know, Kimetsu no Yaiba had like a burst for a while, but it didn't. It doesn't stack up for some of the overall numbers that Black Clover was able to put out. The ones that I think are the most ridiculous, like again, best fantasy, I could say, you can kind of argue. Best girl, I think that one is ridiculous. Nezuko being on there but not Noelle is silly. The one that is very much annoying for the Black Clover community, especially because I think anybody, regardless if you are a Black Clover fan or not, knows that the anime hasn't had the most consistent animation. But 2019 alone had multiple fantastic fight scenes. You had Rill versus Yuno. You had Mereoleona versus Raya. Licht versus Julius. Well, Patri versus Julius, but listed as Licht because at the time we knew him as Licht. And Asta and Yuno versus the actual Licht. those were fantastic. And I want to say, like, you can go back and look at them. Those should be on there. And listen, I understand that, you know, the big flashy Kimetsu no Yaiba fight was, you know, the people liked it because all the neon colors looked really cool. And the Levi versus Beast Titan fight was very well animated. I won't deny that the animation was well. But they weren't really fight scenes. Like, it was mostly, it was really just Tanjiro going in with one attack. With, like, all the crazy color flares actually aren't even real attacks. They're all just for visual effects. We already know that. The author herself said that they aren't actual elements. And Attack on Titan, again, as cool as it was, I like Levi, I like Zeke, but that wasn't a fight. That was Levi running through Zeke, as he's done multiple times later that you'll see in the series. Regardless of which, Black Clover had 4 amazing fights that should have been on there. They didn't not necessarily say, oh, one of these has to win. The fact that it wasn't on there at all, not even one of them was nominated, I find ridiculous. Especially when, again, we've seen Black Clover's numbers on Crunchyroll's own given out statistics that show it's very popular. And somehow it didn't get like recommended in any category. Like, that is astonishing to me. And again, I can't say, oh, I can't pull up this recorded audio of them saying all these things, you know, in their studio. But again, after seeing how much it's really, like, gotten popular over the last year and how well the animation team has done, it's not strange that they're not even in any categories. I think that's just very, very odd. I think it's very strange. You know, they're pushing Kimetsu no Yaiba in a lot of areas for Crunchyroll, and is it surprising to me? No, but at the same time, I feel like they're on some form of scheme. It's no stranger to the Black Clover community that they get some beef, but at the same time, you can't deny that it's a popular series. It's got the numbers to prove it. It's got the fan base to prove it. So I don't really know. Even if you go into Crunchyroll's pages for them, Black Clover has more ratings than Kimetsu no Yaiba. And I know that there's a lot of negative ratings there, but I think the positive ratings for Kimetsu no Yaiba is like somewhere around 700 5-stars, and Black Clover's is like 900. So even if you count that burst in there for how popular that Kimetsu no Yaiba got for a period of time, it doesn't change the fact that Black Clover has better numbers than it overall, and it's got, honestly, I think, way better fight scenes. Because really, out of all the fight scenes that happened in Kimetsu no Yaiba last year, like, what were the 2 that people always talked about? They talked about the fight where Tanjiro fought, was it Rui or whatever, the spider guy, and Zenitsu scenes. And especially, like, Zenitsu's were cool. I won't deny that. I like Zenitsu as a character. I won't change the fact. I won't pretend that I don't like Kimetsu no Yaiba. I really like Inosuke. I really like Zenitsu. I think they're really cool characters. I think they're fun. But Zenitsu's fight was really just, you know, quick kill, because that's how he's, you know, that sheath and draw out, attack, resheath kind of blitz characters. And Tanjiro's was really more of one attack. People don't talk about the full fight. They talk about just that big end fight scene with the big neon, like, magma, like, fire circle. But that's it. The entire fight scenes for all the Black Clover ones that I've mentioned, they added a lot of, not just, like, animation level quality, like, made it look really good. They added a lot of extra scenes to that wasn't in the manga, so it wasn't just enjoyable for the anime people. Anybody who read the manga, they're like, oh, I can't wait to see this animated, got a lot more than what they thought they were. And that was fun for both fronts. While at the same time, choreography was amazing, the fluidity of the fight scenes, the music was great. I don't understand, like, the idea that, like, what was going back there, that they didn't at least nominate one of these fight scenes. And I don't know, it's just very strange to me. Again, you can say I've got my tinfoil hat on, but at the same time, like, personally, I think it's a smart idea for them, for traffic, because, like, here's the thing. I don't think that Crunchyroll has an actual, like, fair voting system. I don't think that they nominate things fairly. Like, look at 2018. If you remember 2018, anywhere you went, Goblin Slayer dominated. Goblin Slayer was dominating views. It was dominating conversation. In Crunchyroll, again, put up their own statistics that showed that at the time where Goblin Slayer was airing, it was a massive, unstoppable force. It was crushing other series in terms of who was watching. You know, the controversy, you know, the people that overreacted to, like, thinking it was like some top tier dark series when there are tons of darker series out there, ended up drawing a lot of attention. People came over, people liked the characters, people liked the action, people liked the seriousness of it, and it was very popular, and yet none of it got in there. And again, Best Girl, when the priestess, she was like a big hot topic waifu character for so many people. So was Flat Chested Elf, Big Titty Farmer, Guild Chick. It's funny how, like, when you don't know characters, you describe them, but like with Goblin Slayer, it's they don't actually have names. They're like described as what their role is. But again, look at last year. You had a super popular series that was a massively talked about piece, and yet none of it made it in there. Why? And I can see the same thing with Black Clover. Look at 2018's Black Clover and look at 2019's Black Clover, and look how much it's improved. Look at the large gaps in improvement that they were able to put out, and somehow none of it was nominated at all. I find that ridiculous. And I think any Black Clover person, you know, anybody who enjoys the series, whether you're a manga or anime guy, who, you know, knows and saw the fight scenes that happened in the anime last year, and honestly, I don't think any of them are like, oh yeah, I don't really think any of these should get nominated. And even the people that don't like Black Clover could watch the scenes and be like, wow, these are really good fight scenes. They did a really good job animating this, the voice actors, the music. Again, it's a good question of how none of them got in there at all. But anyway, that's mostly for what I want to go over. I just think it's strange. I think the entire likelihood of just like the amount of people that go to Crunchyroll, the amount of traffic that the people like on board on this website can see, and none of them think that the Black Clover one was the best one. And again, like, oh, then what gets nominated? Or is it just just the staff? Why isn't it that you have the full list, and or at least you have fans send in like what they want, and then somebody counts and it's like, okay, these are the most popular ones, and we'll vote from them. It's strange. I think it's very rigged. I don't think it's a fair one, a fair poll. I think it was last year, and again, Goblin Slayer was a perfect example. I don't think it was fair, and I don't think it's fair this year. So, legitimately, if you've made it to this far in the video, if you're a Black Clover fan, tell me what your take on this is exactly. If you're not even a Black Clover fan and you were just interested in this video and you made it all the way to the end, legitimately, if you don't think those fights were well-deserved to get in, go watch them and then come back and then give me your honest answer, because those are fantastic. They're so beautifully done. Anyway, yeah, comment below. I really appreciate thumbs up the video, from the like button and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But on that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.